for listeners, viewers will be able to see I'm holding your gold medal from Paris, which is remarkable. I wonder whether does it still dawn on you the weight of this? How
The
special this
physical way
is?
or the
No, the emotional
metaphorical?
way,
Yeah.
you know?
Sometimes like when I think about it too much, it's just overwhelming, so I don't
Mm,
think about it too much. But it, I have gotten used to thinking myself as a gold medalist, and when I say it and introduce myself as an Olympic gold medalist, it's just like normal, which
mm.
is awesome. But it did take some time. It's been a year and a half to really be like, I really did this, and I don't see this every day. It's
Mm.
just literally in my Qantas Qantas pouch that I found
Yeah.
on the plane that had my eye mask and my socks in there. And it just lives in there in my cupboard just waiting for me to take it to things like this and come on your podcast. So
Well, you should be incredibly proud of yourself
yeah.
because we'll talk about a bunch of it today, and it is actually book release day.
Yes.
So for the people watching, you'll be able to see this beautiful book here, Just Go, which I've had the privilege of listening to a little bit ahead of time. And it's just so special, everything you overcome to achieve that gold medal.
Mm,
The gold medal is obviously a very special symbol in society of something that not many people achieve. In fact,
no.
very, very few. But I think emotionally, mentally, and physically, what you
Yeah.
achieved is very much a testament to who you are. So you should be very proud of that.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, well, the weight of this gold medal, I think, is something that I really wanted to convey, and it's something that I couldn't in an hour podcast or a 30-minute interview or documentary, that I needed to have an outlet. And well, I was grateful to have an outlet for that for the in the book, and to
Absolutely.
be able to sit down, literally put pen to paper of what I actually went through. And even in the process of it, it was really great because I could process what happened and think like, oh, why did I think that way? Like, why did that happen, and why did that I get that outcome? And it was just like processing and kind of putting everything together to be like, oh, that is a story, and that's why I was able to grow. And it's been really cool just to put pen to paper, literally a story from start to finish of how I got this gold medal.
Absolutely. Well, for those of you who are listening, we've certainly started the pod. This is Saya
Mm.
Sakakibara, one of our very own gold medalists. In
Yes.
what would you call your specific event? It's obviously BMX, but your specific
BMX
event,
racing. So
racing.
we've got two disciplines in BMX. So we've got the BMX freestyle, which is on in the skate park, and they do the flips and the front flips, and then they do their little dance. Not little dance. It's very crazy what
The
they
intricate,
do, but
intricate,
yes.
crazy dance. Yeah.
What I do is the BMX racing side, where there is a 350-meter track, and we go from start to finish. The start is 8 meters high on a start hill. We go 55 kilometers per hour, 0 to 55 kilometers per hour in 2.5 seconds. And it's a race to the finish line with 8 people on the track.
It really surprised me. I think when you're watching the sport on telly, and so many people, for so many people, that experience will be the Olympics, more so than the World
Yeah.
Cups, which I think is probably the niches of people who are interested in BMX or
Yeah.
invested in it. I couldn't believe hearing in your book that it's a 30 to 40-second event. That shocked me because I think when you're watching it and there's so much happening, it feels longer.
You reckon?
Yeah. At
Interesting.
least to me it does, because I think you experience a bit of the calm from the telly
Mm,
and from the lounge room where you're watching this battle play out
yeah.
over jumps and corners from start to finish. But for you, I can imagine that 30 to 40 seconds feels very intense and
Mm-hmm.
very quick. Is
Yeah.
that true?
Yeah, 100%. Well, 30 seconds it goes quick,
Absolutely.
unless you're doing a plank.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but for me, it's just once I'm on the gate, it's all instinctual. Like it's
Mm.
about getting in the zone and allowing my body to do what it's trained to do. And a lot of the journey in the book is about getting out of my own way and allowing what I have built over the years to just take over and stop overthinking and just let it happen. And you think that it's easy. It's definitely easier said than done. But there were a lot of strategies where I put into place where I was able to get out of my own way. And yeah, it's over so quickly. Like when I'm in a final, I'm like, oh, I'm already halfway.
Mm.
It's like, oh, I'm probably going to win. So yeah, it's cool. It goes by quickly, but what goes slowly is when you know that you're going to crash.
So when you say you know that you're going to crash, this is one of
Yeah.
the things I found fascinating about listening to your book is the inner battle that you're having with your outer world, like the outer world of
Mm.
things that you can't control, which is competitors clashing with you, rubbing shoulders, someone coming through the insight, getting stuck in the pack, all of those things that you describe so beautifully in your book. But then this inner world, which to me as a listener of the book, sounded like a lot of self-doubt that you grapple with.
Yeah. 100%.
So
And
you can't think your way out of overthinking. So like what have
no.
the strategies been for you to allow yourself to shed that weight off your
Yeah.
shoulders and tackle it head on?
Yeah. Well, you're right. You really can't overthink your
Mm,
way out of overthinking. And yeah, you can listen to all the podcasts, or read all the books, do all the courses, but at the end of the day, you just have to take action yourself, and you do have to face that fear. But we can work up to it. You don't have to go from being on the couch to winning the gold medal. You have steps to take, and you go from, and each step you take, it gets a little bit bigger and a little bit
mm.
bigger. And I really love, do you know David Goggins?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
I really love how he talks about the cookie jar.
Yeah.
And he talks about how every time he does something hard, he gets to throw a cookie in his jar.
Mm,
So then over time, he has lots of experiences where he's done something hard, he pushed himself, where he doubted himself, but he still did it. And over time, this cookie jar fills up. So
mm.
then when he faces a new challenge that he's never done before, he can look back on his cookie jar and take a cookie and be
I
like,
love that.
yeah, this is evidence of what I've done. So I actually used that. I stole that analogy in the book. And I really loved, so yeah, it didn't have to be a giant cookie from the start. It's just small cookies, throw it in there and just be like, yeah, I've done that before. I can probably do something similar when I'm faced with something harder. And I guess that's one of the strategies of overcoming the fear is going step by step. I know that
Mm.
I know that crashing is always an inevitable thing. It's always a possibility, always a risk, but there's other ways that you can minimize it. You can always train harder. You can always be more focused, and yeah,
Let me ask you,
yeah.
have you ever heard of the book The Boy, the Fox, the Mole and the Horse?
No, what's that about?
It's an artist. His name's Charlie. I forget Charlie's surname, but he does these beautiful illustrations. And this book came to life from a number of these illustrations being picked up on social media and people asking for them, where he would, I guess, picture himself as the boy who is anxious and scared and, is looking out at this big forest and it feels thick and foggy and he doesn't know how to get where he wants to go.
Yeah.
And all of these other figures, the mole, the horse, the fox, all have, I guess, a metaphorical meaning to them.
Mm.
They all play a different role in giving them the courage to take the next step. And there's this beautiful line from the book where he says, I can't see my way through the forest. It's too
Yeah.
thick. It's too foggy. And I believe it's the horse that says, if you can't see where you're going, can you see your next step? And he says, I
Yeah.
can. And he says, just take that.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
I think
that's
that
so
that
good.
beautiful analogy of, we often think in the grand scheme of things,
Yeah.
but sometimes like zooming out and just going, can I see my next step?
Yeah.
And often the answer is yes.
Yes.
But you're right, we overthink, we
Yeah.
overcomplicate. Part of
Well,
the challenge of life.
yeah, because we just want certainty.
Absolutely.
We just
In an
hate
uncertain world.
we hate uncertainty. We hate not knowing what's going to happen. So, and I think that's why I was stuck in a fearful state, because that was what I knew. Like I knew what it felt like to be scared. I
Mm.
knew what it felt like not to be brave. And so that's why I was stuck. And yeah, it's about just making the decision of where you want to go,
Mm.
and then yeah, taking that next step in front of you, however small it could be, just moving forward. And that was another mindset shift as well. I actually started working with a mindset coach in 2023, so about a year and a half before the games. And by that point, I was still super scared. There was a race coming up in a couple months, and I'm like, I've done all the training. I'm strong, but I'm terrified of racing still. Like I don't know if I can do this. And the exercises I did with him was firstly just figuring out where I wanted to go. And that was the first
Mm,
time I said I wanted to win an Olympic gold medal. And he made me go through a visualization of like how you're going to be feeling, what
mm,
foot are you going to use to step up on that podium, what are you seeing, what are you hearing, how are you feeling. And I just imagined everything down to how I was going to celebrate and jump up, and how ugly crying I would be.
yeah.
But at that time, it felt so unattainable. It
Mm.
felt so far out of reach. It was something that I really wanted, but I'm like, how the hell am I going to get there? I'm scared to just race a local race. How could I be winning and be
Mm.
on the podiums and trust myself to win World Cups and World Championships that would lead into the Olympic Games? But I think what I'm trying to say is that sometimes allowing yourself to want something that feels unattainable is hard, but it's one of the first steps, because knowing what you want is everything. Like once you figure out what you want, then you know where that next step is going to be.
I love what you said there. I think that is such a beautiful message that you have to allow yourself to want it,
Yeah.
because these big goals, for some reason, they often come with a bit of guilt.
Mm.
Like, why do I want that? Is that selfish of me to want
Yeah.
it? Is it silly of me to want it? Because it's not exactly realistic.
No.
Like I feel like we've downplayed the fact that there is a fucking thick gold medal in front of us from the Paris Olympic Games, and it's
Yeah.
yours. Like
Yeah.
it is certainly not the average goal.
No.
So when you talk about finally allowing yourself to voice the fact that you wanted that,
Mm.
that was the vision, the goal, why do you think it was so hard to acknowledge that you wanted it in the first place?
Mm. Well, you feel like you don't deserve it.
Why?
I felt like I didn't deserve it because you think, or I thought about all the Olympic gold medalists that I know and that I've looked up to, and I've put them on a pedestal, that they are just superhuman and they don't feel fear and they're just born that way. And looking into myself, I knew that I wasn't that way, which is totally wrong. Like they are not any different to any of us.
Mm.
And so I was like, I don't know if I deserve it. I'm still scared of racing, and I don't know if I can get to a point. I don't even know if I'm good enough,
Mm.
and but I'm not sure what allowed me to what made me allow myself to want it. Maybe it's just because that mindset coach Stuart, he just allowed me to voice it, and his reaction to it was just like, yeah, cool. He wasn't like, are you sure you can do it? Or like, he never doubted me for a second.
Mm.
And he was an instrumental part of my journey because he held on to that belief for me, even if I didn't believe it myself. So through every setback that I had, I'll ring him up and be like, I don't know if I can do this, Stuart. And then he's like, well, it's all part of it. Like I'm holding on this belief for you. It's all part of it. You're still gonna win. Like if you knew that you were gonna win in 6 months' time, like would this setback matter to you? I'm like, no, I guess not. So then I'll move on.
It's funny you mentioned that in, I think it's like chapter 12 or 13. You mentioned this idea for the first time, I feel, in the book, of letting go of past disappointment.
Mm,
And I feel like that letting go is really challenging. I know for me it is.
yeah.
For most people, I would say the same. So it sounds like champions in your life and people in your life who, because we all have self doubt,
Yeah.
right? So having people that back you and
Yeah.
can reinforce those beliefs has obviously been really important. I wonder, do you like rom coms?
Yeah.
Do you know Eat, Pray, Love?
Uh I
Julia Roberts,
That's
Javier
one
Bardem.
I haven't read. I haven't watched that one,
So
but I
there's a
love them.
great scene in that, and I've watched this movie unashamedly because I do enjoy a rom com, but it's my mum's favorite movie. And so
Yeah.
growing up, we'd watch this movie all the time, And there's this amazing scene in Eat, Pray, Love where they're in Bali and Julia Roberts' character is with Javier Bardem, and she says something that leads him to say, "You don't need a man, you need a champion." And I love this
Mm.
idea of like, regardless of who it is in your life, if it is your life partner, if it's your coach, if it's your mindset mentor, having champions who, when you feel like you're not up to it,
Yeah.
remind you that you are, is
Yeah.
so valuable.
Yeah, that's why you need a team.
And correct me if I'm wrong, it feels that a huge part of maybe the self doubt journey for you is because one of your big champions was always Kai.
Yeah.
And then Kai had his accident,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you're not on the same journey anymore.
You totally, yeah, you got that completely right for sure. Well, I didn't have to, like, I relied heavily on Kai because he's 3 years older than me. He got me into BMX. He he taught me how to train again, or train for the first time, even though I didn't really want to. I didn't really have that drive as an 8-year-old girl. But as a 12-year-old boy, Kai was just like, give me everything. I want to train every single day.
Mm.
And he would write training diaries and reflect back on his training. And I would just look at that and be like, what are you doing? But he was someone that I relied on to, discipline me, to teach me the ways of, yeah, how to be disciplined, and waking up early to do some training before school, or saying no to playing with friends to go training and things like that. So as we grew up, I started to really understand
Mm.
what he was going through, and like I started to share the same passions as him, and we were traveling the world together, doing all the World Cups. We were brother and sister taking on the world, and hopefully going to the Tokyo Olympic Games together. And yeah, he was the champion in my life because I didn't have to think about what kind of training I'm doing. I didn't have to think about anything because he was the team leader. He led the both of us, and he did all the travel arrangements, and he was the one always like, um yeah, if I needed to kick up my bum, he would do that. So when he had his accident in 2020 and had that traumatic brain injury, yeah, my whole world crumbled because he was my champion that I relied on heavily, and then I had to pick up the pieces.
You talk, quite openly in the book about that period of which, he's in hospital and it is touch and go for a while. And then, he makes what is just an incredibly miraculous recovery.
Mm,
I can't even imagine what you and your family would have felt, but I feel like maybe I missed it. Maybe you didn't open up about it as much as I hope you will now. But I feel like you didn't really talk about the toll that takes on you. Because at the time,
mm,
you're a young elite athlete, but you're also a young woman who is
mm,
bedside looking after her brother,
yeah.
praying that he's going to see the other side of this and have a great life again. But what kind of toll does it take on you to be the supporter, but also to try and live your own life at the same time?
Mm. Well, it's hard because I think the human brain does weird things, and it protects you from trauma and things that you don't want to deal with at the moment. So I think when he initially crashed, like, and was in hospital, of course it was hard, and I wanted him that uncertainty of whether he was gonna wake up again, like if he's gonna speak, is he gonna walk, like there was so much uncertainty. But my brain just literally just went straight to dealing with going to the Olympics for the both of us. Like I just channeled all that energy, that angst, the frustration that I felt towards this of what happened to Kai into a positive thing of like, I'm going to the Olympics for the both of us. Like it meant more to me to do that. And I guess I didn't really feel the toll that it took on me to have lost someone so special, my champion, that um it was not until after the Olympics, after that year, after in 2022, when I had 2 concussions. So I had a concussion at the Tokyo Olympic Games, um, And then 11 months after, I had another crash and had another concussion. And I think it was then where I felt like I've gotten beaten down physically from BMX, that then I started to realize what I really lost when Kai crashed, and how I hadn't really dealt with it, and how I didn't really adapt to the situation, and how I just wanted to just go back to what things were, but it was never going to be the same. And yeah, it was, as much as it was the lowest point in my life, it also allowed me to take a step forward to start to rebuild
Mm.
and reinvent myself as an athlete.
I like that term, reinvent yourself as an athlete, because I feel that, one of the things I love that you talk about in the book is purpose, because I just think purpose is so powerful for
Yeah.
anyone in their life, regardless of what you do, regardless of whether
Mm.
you're an athlete, whether you work a 9 to 5 and have a life outside of it that really interests you, or whatever it is that is your passion in life, having a purpose is just so powerful
Yeah.
for the moments of pain and challenge. And talking about losing Kai as your partner in crime on the
Yeah.
track and losing that purpose of wanting to go together, I feel like you're right. So much of your success now is probably linked to the fact that you had to figure it out for you.
Mm.
And I guess, does that allow you to have more satisfaction in achieving some of those goals because now maybe it feels a little bit more yours? Or is that inaccurate?
Yeah. No, no, I never really thought of it that way, of whether it gives me more satisfaction or anything like that. But yeah, when I went through that period of time after that second concussion, and I wasn't enjoying racing at the time. I had a lot of fear, and having hit my head again, going through, I had a bad experience going through the concussion after Tokyo, and then knowing I had to go through again, it was one of those times where I really didn't think that it was worth continuing BMX. Like, I was
Mm.
scared of my long-term health. And we only have one brain. Like, if it was 5 times breaking my arm, that wouldn't bother me. We only have one brain. I know the worst, I know what it could happen in the most worst scenario. And then even myself feeling those experiences of not feeling like myself, doing something out of the ordinary, and like changing my personality, and like that was so scary for me that I didn't really know if it was worth continuing BMX, and I really questioned that purpose. Because up until that point, up until the Tokyo Games, I've always had a purpose. It was always with Kai. I'm doing it with Kai. We're brother and sister team, taking on the world. And then when he crashed, it changed to, I'm going to go for the both of us. But then when all that went to shit, um, I didn't regain that purpose, like, because I wasn't doing it with Kai, and I wasn't going to the Tokyo Games. So what am I doing it for? And sometimes thinking about what that purpose is the hardest part. Like, what do you, as well as what do you want, and like why do you want that, is also a really hard thing to do. So I really loved that. I really loved working with Stuart, because he always says that life moves forward,
Mm.
and you always have to move forward with it. So it's not about when you are faced with a setback, you don't want to bounce back. You don't want to get back to where you were, because that person doesn't exist. Like, you need to be going forward and reinventing yourself and becoming a new person, rather than going back to the person you were before.
It's interesting you say that. There was something that stood out to me yesterday in a conversation I heard between Lewis Capaldi,
Yeah.
the musician, and Zane Lowe. I actually wrote it here because I think it might be relevant to you. There was a quote from the interview where Lewis was talking about writing what for him in most cases is relatively painful music.
Mm.
And Zane said, you write those songs about that period of time, and then we get them and we hold you there. We almost keep you
Mm.
prisoner to the moment. which doesn't
Yeah.
really allow you to move forward.
Yeah.
So, we're sitting here talking about this book in which
Yeah.
so much of it is reflective, right? It's
Yeah.
the nature of a memoir. And you're doing these interviews. How hard is it to
Mm.
sometimes go back there consistently? And do you feel like that stops you from moving forward, or is it therapeutic?
Oh, I've never been asked that before. So great question.
Thank you.
Um, I it's definitely hard. And I was talking with my parents before because there was an Australian story. There was a crew from Australian Story ABC that came and interviewed us for the story that came out last week, or start of October. And I was talking to them about how every time there's someone that comes to tell our story, the documentary or whatever, like they have to talk about painful experiences. And my mum was saying how it just feels like every time she talks about it, afterwards it kind of the wound gets it scabs up the wound. But then as soon as another person comes in and she needs to talk about it, it gets ripped off and it still hurts just as much. So I think it's something that it would always be painful to talk about, but I think it's very important to talk about because a lot of people face grief. A lot of people face life-changing experiences or lost a loved one or, maybe have actually had the same experience as us. And being able to connect with those audiences is so important, and it makes us feel not alone in this thing. And in the end, we're all human and we all experience the same emotions. And I really hope that in this book, I was able to express that I am human too. I had all these
Mm.
emotions and I was still able to overcome it to win a gold medal. So yeah, I think a lot of people will get a lot out of it.
Absolutely. As you alluded to before, purpose is so powerful. But I also saw something this week that said most purpose is a burden. I'm like, there's probably a lot
Mm.
of truth in that too. It's usually
Yeah.
purpose because it's allowed you to get through something incredibly painful.
Mm.
That's kind of its strength.
Yeah. Well, the purpose is like your guiding light, it's not
Mm.
your roadmap. It's just like, that's where I'm headed, and why. And when you attach, so I think like what you want is your goal, like what do you want? And then your why is your purpose. And when you attach a feeling to the goal or that why, it makes it much more powerful. Because when you're in that slump and you're feeling unmotivated, you're feeling sad or you feel tired, you get to think about what you want and why you want it. And it's usually a feeling. So it's like, I want to feel happy or I want to feel proud of myself. And that's when you can be like, yeah, I'm going to bring myself out of this mess and take that next step because I want to feel proud. I think the emotions are so powerful. And I feel like we can use them to our advantage to get what we want.
Are you proud of yourself?
Yes,
You should be.
of course. I'm very proud. And I'm not just proud of this gold medal. It's pretty, it's gold and it's heavy, but it's what it means. And I I just I'm really proud of the person I became in order to win that gold medal.
Mm.
So when I first had that session with Stu, when he made me visualize that moment of stepping up on the podium, I was a scared girl. I did not know how I was going to overcome this self doubt. I had very little confidence. I went through a season the year before where I didn't even think I was capable of doing a full lap around the track without crashing. And even if I was to win, I would feel undeserving of it. So, the fact that I came from that to then thinking, believing that I can win a gold medal and thinking that I deserve one was the biggest shift I saw like in myself, in the way I view myself. And I think that internal growth was something that I'm most proud of.
I'm really interested to know whether you feel that your professional and personal lives are interwoven. Like when you're succeeding in your sport, do you feel like you're succeeding in life or are they separate?
You're hitting some great questions.
I wanna encourage you to think about some different stuff. I feel like part of the problem with doing a book tour
Mm,
and press is you get asked all the same questions, so
this
it's
yeah,
nice to
this
see a
is
different side of
great.
you.
Okay. I don't think maybe I think that it could be interwoven, but at the same time it could be very separate. But because BMX, like being an athlete, just takes up your whole life.
Mm,
It's a lifestyle. It's not like you can leave work and just focus on your personal life. It's all interwoven. And because being an athlete or high performance is so much mental,
mm,
like you also, part of being an elite athlete is taking care of your personal life and not having drama in your life and not having to deal with stress. Like those things are just as important. So I guess it is goes hand in hand, but yeah, I think it's part of being an athlete to make sure your personal life is succeeding and you're happy and you're satisfied with where you are and your relationships are good and you're not always stuck in drama. And yeah, that's why I'm really grateful for my boyfriend Rom because
mm.
he's just so stable and he just he supports me. He has his own goals. He's also a BMX racer, so we're able to really rely on each other. Well, I rely on him more than he relies on me, but yeah, he was just being that stable person through this whole process of where I've been up and down roller coaster with my emotions.
I think you'd be surprised though. You just made a statement. You said, "I rely on him more than he relies on me." I think you'd be
Mm.
surprised by that because I think if we had him here behind a mic, I know I can speak for the fact that I'm blessed that I got an amazing wife now,
Yeah.
and whilst I'm sure she would say similar
Mm.
in so many ways that sometimes are unspoken, I feel like I really rely on her.
Mm.
And I think for a lot of people, I don't think this is a people often say this is a masculine trait, but I think it's just a trait of good human beings.
Yeah.
I think good human beings love to feel like they can give back to the people who mean something to them. And I think that
Mm.
gives you a lot more than you recognize in a moment. Feeling like you can be a support system, as I'm sure you did for Kai, I'm sure you have
Mm.
for other people in your life, allows you to feel like you're playing out a purpose.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit different to the purpose you'd play out professionally,
Mm.
but it makes you feel like you as a human being
Yeah.
showing up in the world in a really integral way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good. I really love Cooper Chapman, how he talks
Good friend
about.
of mine, Kurt.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
He talks about if you're having a bad day, go do something nice for someone else. And
absolutely.
it's like, yeah, it makes even just thinking about it, it makes you
Mm.
feel good to like to help someone to feel like you're in need. I think yes, it's such an important part of your personal life and professional.
It's hard though when you're an athlete, right? Because I have mates who are athletes full time, and so much of the sport requires a selfishness, right? To
So
look
much.
after you and to make
Yeah.
sure that the way that you eat, the way that you train, the way that you recover and sleep, and you're giving yourself the space to have peace
Mm,
mentally and in your life is not only a requirement, it's an expectation
yeah.
to succeed, right? And so
Yeah.
it's hard to be selfless when you're in the grips of it.
Yeah, I struggled with that actually. Yeah, I went to a the Marie Claire Women of the Year awards last year, and where they celebrated women from all different fields. And each person who got up to get an award, they just accomplished such amazing things in their field, but they were
Mm,
always like in service of their community or in
mm,
service of someone or helping someone, giving their time. And I'm up there like, did I help anyone? I just helped myself. But I think with how I see giving back is through the book, sharing my experiences,
mm,
being a role model for the next generation, giving my time to sign autographs, take photos, make kids' days, and I think those those experiences that I have is so it fills my heart. It's like this is
absolutely.
what I do this for. It's not just
Mm,
about me. It's not just about winning. It's about showing up for those who are supporting me and see me as someone that they look up to, which is such
mm,
an honor. And yeah, always giving back to always giving back to the next generation. I just want to, as much as, so there's these girls who are coming up in the elite class within Australia who are doing really
Mm.
good. As much as I don't want them to beat me, I really want to help them succeed in the best
Yeah.
way. So it's just a weird thing where I'm like, I really want to help you, and I do help you, but I also really don't want you to beat me. It's this weird little dance, but I know that if they also succeed, they will push me as well. So
Mm.
um, yeah, I'm always looking for ways I can give back, and I really hope that this book can help that too.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's a really good point you make that when you zoomed in on the lens, you can see like the effort day to day that goes into being the best at your sport. When you zoom out, you see the amount of people who get to watch that and witness that and
Mm.
be inspired by it. So I think it's a very healthy point you make that it's probably hard to recognize how selfless that is when you're in the moment.
Yeah, because all you think about is yourself. Like when,
Absolutely.
like selfish is like when you're thinking about only yourself and
Mm.
no one else. But I think um, it's like I'm gonna help me so I can help you, kind of thing in that moment. Yeah.
Let me ask, you don't often think of high performers in sport as being people who have vices to calm down. And I guess vices is often seen as like alcohol or drugs or something relatively chaotic, but I think there are certainly more vices than the two of those. Do you have any vices in your life? Things that, at times you find yourself distracted by or that seem to capture your attention more than you'd like them to?
Like in a positive way or a negative way.
Either.
Um, um, well, doom scrolling on socials.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
So we're in like a relatively similar age bracket. I'm
Yeah.
29 going on 30.
Yeah.
Which a few greys on the side of my head remind me of that. And I feel really challenged for our generation, the generation that is after us,
Yeah.
because I feel sometimes I'm just so captured by the little device in my pocket and the way it
Yeah.
steals my attention
Yeah.
that it's bloody hard.
It really is. And then, like, there was a period of time where I didn't want to post on Instagram because I'm like adding to those kids watching or spending more
Mm,
time on social media. But then I was thinking, well, they're going to be watching anyway, so maybe I can give positive messages and
absolutely.
be a role model that they can be like when they see my content, be like inspired by or have a positive influence on them. Not to get off the phone, but I don't know, to if they are off the phone to go do something cool with their lives as well.
Absolutely. Do you think that is it a lot of pressure now to have a brand as an athlete?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
so much of that on social media is you creating a brand, right? So that you have
Yeah.
opportunities outside of, the times when you're on two wheels.
Yeah, it's really important and something that my dad had always instilled in both Kai and I. And he was always saying, if we're doing this BMX thing, like you're not gonna have a job. So your job is BMX. So you need to get your name out there. You need to get on Channel 7 and Channel 9, get on news, write really nice Instagram posts, grow your fan base. So it was always something that we've done for a long time. And so we've done that personal branding thing, and then
Mm,
having this gold medal has really helped elevate that and be able to share that more of that story. But yeah, with BMX racing, we're not having $1 million contracts, so
no,
we have to branch out, do more, and it's I like it that way actually. Then I get to talk to you, Brad, and I can go to
mm.
have other opportunities to talk in front of an audience and connect with more people, give back more. So yeah, it's as much as personal branding is super relevant right now, and you need it. Um, I think it's part of it. It's just the way that the world is right now. I think you need a personal brand, whatever you do.
So tell me about life outside of sport. So grew up in Helensburgh, which isn't that far from me. Well, you're in Helensburgh. You're in Queensland until 2,
Yeah,
then just outside Tokyo,
yeah,
and then around 7. Am
yeah,
I right?
yeah,
Back in Helensburgh. which is like I grew up in Wollongong.
Nice.
I grew up in Berkeley.
Yeah.
And so like 30, 40 minutes apart.
Yeah.
Definitely part of the Illawarra, part of the South Coast.
Helensburgh is like we're not part of Wollongong, but we're not Sydney, so we're just this in between.
Yeah, yeah. But it's certainly a different world to what I can imagine you experience when you're out, at Olympic Games and
Mm,
Worlds. And I know you spent a lot of time in the south of France, which got a special place in my heart. It's a beautiful part of the world.
yeah.
So, what does it feel like to travel and have those experiences?
Well, I feel super grateful that I
Mm,
get to do that. It's so cool how I get to do this job of racing my bike around the
mm,
world. But at the same time, like it's funny because my friends are like, "Oh, you get to go to all these places." I'm like, "Yeah, I get to go, but it's the hotel room and the
mm.
BMX track, and I don't get to see much else. Maybe a coffee shop here and there, which is great, but um, yeah, it's all part of it. But I think having travel, like seeing the world, has is so important. I think I always encourage people to travel because you just experience something outside of what you grew up with, and you have different you change your mind on things, and
Mm.
you make you become more knowledgeable as a person, and I think that's so important for personal growth. And I think that if you can do that with sport is even better because sport teaches you so many different things, like dealing with heartbreaks, setting goals, um, long term trajectory. And I think I always encourage, yeah, doing sport. And I really hope that I can be someone that keeps people in sport when it gets hard, when the emotions get too much, just to be like, yeah, it's a period of time, but you know, follow these things, follow these tools to be like, you can get over the other side and it feels even more rewarding because you wanted to quit. So, yeah.
Is it hard to see a life for yourself outside of your sport? Because it engulfs so much of who you are?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
That's what I also struggled with when I thought that I was going to quit BMX
Mm.
back in 2022. It's like, what am I going to do with myself?
Any ideas?
I was thinking about like something to do with business, like starting a business or something, but that was another one of the reasons why I needed to continue BMX because like I don't have anything else really.
Mm.
I don't want to do anything else as much as I really was scared to race again. Like I weirdly wanted to,
It's who you are, right?
yeah, it was really weird, but yeah, I really don't see. I really Well, right now in my life, I can start to see what my life outside of BMX could be. It could be just I really liked speaking on stage and sharing my story and just hearing the feedback of like what pieces have landed with
Mm.
them and how they have resonated as normal or ordinary people who I'm an ordinary person myself who can relate to
Mm.
an Olympic gold medalist. And I think that's just so powerful. And it made me realize how important it is just to keep opening up and keep talking and having these conversations. So I really hope that I can keep doing more of those.
Have you ever considered what life would have been like and maybe what feelings wouldn't have been felt if you did walk away?
Always. I always think about that.
How does that make you feel?
Lucky.
Mm.
I feel so lucky. As much as I went through some hard stuff, really uncomfortable experiences, I'm so grateful for them because it's what makes us human as well.
Mm.
Like we're on this earth just once and we're only human just once. And why not experience everything? Why not experience extreme heartbreak? And then why not experience extreme happiness? Like
Mm.
experience everything in between as well. So I'm so grateful for that hard time because it made me learn so much about myself, experience so many of those emotions to ultimately get to that extreme happiness and extreme pride where I've learnt so much and now I can give back.
Is the inner battle, because you talk about fear a lot in the book, is the inner battle with fear and the worry of disappointment and letting yourself down, Is that a battle that you ever win? Like, do you win the war or do you just keep fighting little battles?
It's keep fighting the little battles, like, it never goes away.
And do you feel like you have the tools to win those battles a little easier now?
Yeah, like, when I was at the top of the start hill for that Olympic final in Paris, I
Mm.
felt 0 fear for the first time in a long time.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think it was just this full circle moment. I've been imagining this moment for a long time. I've visualized it, I've rehearsed it. I know what
Mm.
I'm doing. I believe in myself. Like I was out there just to enjoy it. And I just didn't feel fear. And I was like, wow, this is weird. I'm actually excited to go race this thing, which is I've never felt before. So uh I thought that that was the end of it. I was like, done. I
I've
slayed the
conquered the mind.
dragon. I'm
Yeah.
done. But then once I started training again, it popped up straight away. And I was like, okay, well, I guess this is something that I'm gonna always have to manage and it's never gonna go away. But now I know what I have to do. I have an overflowing cookie jar and I can always refer back to and be like, I've done this before. I just have to focus on myself. I have to just tell myself that I'm in control of it. And then I do have those little strategies and tools where I
Mm.
can just reflect back on and just get the job done. And yeah, something I learned this year as well is that it doesn't have to be perfect. Like when you're faced with that fear, it's just like you just have to just do it. Like just
Just
get
go,
it,
hey?
just go, just get it done. It doesn't have to be pretty. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be your perfect run. Just get it done, and then the feeling of satisfaction you feel after you do that, even if if it wasn't perfect, is so rewarding, and that's something I've learnt this year.
Mm.
After the gold medal. So it's like you're always learning. Just when I think that I've learnt everything, it's like no, you still got a lot more to learn.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that's why I just keep thinking that like I need to keep doing this BMX thing as much as it scares me. Like it teaches me so much about myself and like I said, like it keeps me not within my comfort zone, but just like those all the extremes of what the human condition is.
That 30 to 40 seconds in 2024 Paris final, can you talk us through that race as if we're visualizing it?
Okay. So I'm in lane one, which is the far right side of the start gate. Um, I look around, everyone is nervous. Everyone is, some are like tapping their foot. It's kind of loud in the stadium. Or there was like it wasn't a stadium, but there was a roof over the top of the track. And the sun had gone down. It's dark outside, so it felt like a stadium because you couldn't see
Mm.
out and the lights were really bright. And yeah, you could just feel the anxious energy. And I was the last person to be called out because I was on the far right side. So
Mm.
once my name was called out and I waved to the camera who was coming to like pan to like show the face of each rider on the gate, I got the cheer from the crowd and then the whole stadium like goes quiet. And it goes on for at least 20 seconds. So 20 seconds of pure silence before the starter goes set. So I did say that 30 seconds feels really long only when you're doing a plank, but also feels really long when you're lining up and waiting for the gate to go.
I bet.
So you could have a million thoughts that go through your mind in that moment, but I was literally all I was saying to myself was like, just effing go. Like nothing else. I was like, I don't care if I crash. I'm just gonna go. Like no hesitation. And that's what I was repeating in my mind. Because I knew that if I do my best skate, if I react as fast as I can, if I don't hesitate, everything is gonna flow. Like my body knows what to do. I've gotten out of my own way and it's just like full flow. You don't even
Mm.
think about it. It's just instinctual. The pedals do what they need to do. You do the jumps, you pedal, you corner, everything like that. So I'm like, everything was focused on that reaction of reacting as soon as I can to that first speed that goes down. So I did, and in that instant, within a second, I knew I had it.
Really? That
Yeah,
early?
yeah, because I knew that if I literally react, I knew that I was the fastest one there. I had the inside line, which is the lane one, and that was really a big advantage for me.
You secure that through your semi-final times,
Yeah,
correct?
correct. So I knew I had it if I just commit in that first second. So once I did, I'm like, done.
Mm. Isn't that crazy? So
Yeah,
much build up to then in that first second know that if you hang on and
yeah,
perform the way that you know you
yeah.
can, this is you.
Yeah, so I talk about how it's like 34 seconds, lifetime. I trained a lifetime for a 34-second race,
Mm.
but really it was a split second for me because all of that training, all of the mental preparation, all came down to whether I hesitate or if I commit in that split second.
Once the hype of the moment and the celebration all sinks in and it's all said and done, and it's 2 weeks later and you lie down in bed and you think about what you've just achieved, is there a post success blues that you feel? Because I know a lot of athletes talk about that. They talk about
Mm.
so much focus and attention goes into having the achievement, and then you have it, and all of that dopamine wears off, and all of a sudden you're left with the fact that, well, I've kind of got to do it again.
Mm,
I've got to like find the next thing to focus on.
yeah.
Is that hard?
Yeah, I didn't think of it as the blues. I just thought of it as another challenge. Really, I never thought of it as a
Mm.
bad thing. And even 2 weeks later, I was still on a high. It's only like recently where I've started to come down and be like, yeah, that was cool. I did that. And yeah, I think I'm still maybe athletes feel that because they put so much pressure and so much of who they are to that one thing. So once that's finished, it's like, what next? I definitely felt that a little bit of like, why am I racing again? Like, why do I want to win this World Cup, which was this season? Um, but I also had, an incredible relationship with Rom, and I was doing so many other things with this book, and then other media publicities and things like that that it kind of rounded out my
Mm.
life. So I didn't put that much pressure on whether how I felt about what's next in my BMX career.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love Will Storr, author. He wrote the book Status Games. He talks about how status is often negatively associated because people think of wealth, power, those kind of things. But we're all playing some kind of status game. He explains really nicely that even a Buddhist monk is playing a status game. It's how much can I renounce?
Nice.
How little do I need? Right. So we're all
Mm,
playing them, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But one of the things that he talks about being a key to success in life is play as many games as you can, because when one's done
yeah.
or it goes through a bit of a down period, or you just finish a season,
Mm,
you have other things to rely on. And
yeah.
sounds like you've got a nice, full, well-rounded life.
Yeah.
So you should be so proud of yourself.
Thank
I'm
you.
conscious of the time. I've got to get you out of here,
Yeah.
but I think your story is incredible. I love the way that you convey it, and
Oh, thank
I
you.
think you're a big inspiration for a lot of people, not just in the world of sport, but just in the realm of life. So congratulations.
Thanks so much. Yeah,
My
I
pleasure.
love that. I love that game theory.
Yeah, I'll call
Yeah.
it a theory. You never know. You never know until you try it for
Yeah.
yourself. So it is only a theory at this point, right?
Yeah, no, I really love that idea, and yeah, it's we all want to have a well-rounded life, and I think doing something hard, like pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, really helps you appreciate the other things in life as well, because it's like, well, I almost like I'm putting my health in danger here, but then I can really appreciate it and be grateful for the other things as well, and to put my mind off it. So yeah, it's super important to have all the games in your life. And yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's been
My
really
pleasure.
great.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming.